like the man of the hour.
There we go. Sorry, Brandon. What's that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, good. Alrighty. All right. I'll speak to you in a little while. So let us begin and continue the walk we have through some of the symbols that are used in different cultures and beliefs. Today we will go back to an old one that we have looked at before but from a very different angle. And, of course, we will go deeper into it so you can understand your being, your form, and your formlessness, that which you are beyond the body. But first, let us go to the healing, and let us listen to those names that we need to work with today. I believe you have a list for me.
Yes, I do. Here we go. Helen, Evie Rose, Olivia, Ben Wielden, Teresa Neal, Casey, Kristen Howard, Roz and Adelaide, Paya, Sonia, Bernie and Tess Parent, Lena, Mike Eskins, Nicole, Honey and Matt, Loretta Michelle Caputo, Susan, Michael, Stefanos and Andreas, their newly born children, Angelina, George, Irene, Stella, Tabitha, Courtney, Lisa Wiggins and Ann Van Orstel, Nelsie, Ariel, Adria, Ed, Teresa, Jane Vartnian, and Laura, Amanda DeJersey, and Craig, and Nicole Peterson. Thank you.
For the talk today, let me hold you in my heart. Come and dwell there in the heart of spirit. Connect with me and let me hold you so that you want nothing else, even just for a brief moment in time. Leave your troubles at your door and just sit together. Have no expectations nor desires. And feel these words. You do not always need to understand them for them to be of an effect. In fact, in some situations, the less you understand, the better, as you must trust and relax into the depth of meaning. Let the words do their actions. And fear not as I take you on a journey that we will dive into and return when our time is done. If you hold your heart closed, you will never gain the full meaning of what is said. It is the open heart and the clear mind which steps beyond the problems of the world. Come be with me, and let me be with you. Wisdom is meant to be timeless. If it is true wisdom, then it is as true yesterday as it will be tomorrow. So the date it was written is pointless, because it is as fresh as it's ever been. But I do wish to take you back a few thousand years. And once more we will talk about the 3 crosses on the hill, but not from a Christian basis, but one often quoted within the Bhagavad Gita, a short few chapters in a much larger book. Now this book details much, but the chapters we will talk about, known as the Bhagavad Gita, is but just a brief glimpse within that larger book. But from this, many religions have been formed. And not just religions, but also, let us say, the guru structure. Those chasing and understanding their true self, and see the wisdom within the scriptures, not from a religious point of view, but from the point of view of understanding and clarity. Now I will leave that definition there and explain it to you in another way so you can comprehend yourself. If you listen and feel these words and understand them at a deeper level, non-religious level, you can enter the spiritual realm and see what your obstacles to that realm may well be. Now there have been many definitions given over many times from many people regarding who you really are And we can go into detail upon detail upon detail, but it's of little consequence, really. So I wish to talk about 3 bodies, and in essence you could say these are symbolized by the 3 crosses on the hill. But the 3 bodies that I wish to talk to you about will also explain your process of transition into spirit and all the worlds and elements that exist there. Please try to understand by feeling, and you will know if I'm telling you the truth or not. There are 3 bodies that man has. The obvious, of course, is the physical body that you possess, often referred to as the garment or the vehicle. This is made up and constituted because of memory. Memory and desires which have lived in your past go to form another life, a life where these desires get lived out. The expectations are once more expressed through the physical form. Of course, at times this is referred to as the infinite knowledge, or the Akashic, or the Book of God's Remembrance, and many other phrases where all that has occurred is stored within the energy, or if you prefer, written in your book of life. And what you do not resolve in one, you will live and resolve in the next life. The body is created by the Almighty. It is given to you to use for your period of time so that you may experience all that life has to offer. And if you are unaware, you go from circumstance to circumstance, not knowing that there is a spiritual form that exists. But all of the events are no more than pictures on a screen. The pictures flashing by are driven by the memories of yesterday, and you watch life as you believe it to be, and become so captured in it that you fail to recognize the observer. Once you pass from your world, the garment is dropped away, the vehicle is left behind. Then the soul enters what you could call the astral realm, the realm of creation, where the mind is in control and creates as it desires. The creation here you refer often to as spirit world, but it is not spirit world. You are entered the state of mind. Mind free from the body explores anything and everywhere. It often goes back into the physical world to explore places and events that it never experienced, or wishes to experience one more time. If you like, this is life review. You go into this, you witness, you watch, you desire once more for a body and are then given one. You live that body only to come back into astral and repeat until you look a little deeper. The repetition is constant. It is never ending until you choose to step back from it. And you can see this in action in your world now. You can see the mind playing out all events, and you can see the events living right in front of you. I have referred to this like the observer of a movie screen watching. And you see the events which you then judge as good or bad, happy and sad, pain and pleasure, and the duality of life continues. The mind creates what it is told to create based on these experiences which are stored in and around it. The soul at this level lives life constantly and without consideration. So here you can see that although the body never reincarnates, the mind does. The mind comes and goes ad infinitum until the soul realizes that there is more beyond. And the refinement of the mind begins. And the refinement then means the soul goes through realms of understanding. Just because the body has gone, it means that the soul is still trapped in these two worlds. The world of astral, and when clarity finally dawns into the world of causal. Now this is the world of consciousness. This is the world of observing, the world where the mind becomes still, the desires become less, and the events and desires that want to be lived are created for the mind to create and the body to live. Desire is still running the show. Desire is creating here more and more events, circumstances, and lifetime. Now, by many descriptions, these two worlds, astral and causal, are your spirit world, but are in fact still not the true spirit. It is desire that is the chief obstacle to move into the purity of spirit. Now you know this in your life. You can see it in action if you are observant. Often man wants to avoid the circumstances of life, avoid having to go to work, having to deal with a difficult situation. desiring of either a partner or a new partner or of no partner. Desiring of life where they can sit and relax and be calm and have no expectations on them. Mankind desires no expectation. But it is the desireless state initially gives that joy of heart. But because they are dependent on it, they go back into the world of action and regret, avoid, and hold on to those moments of life, and to those people in life, and to those circumstances that they face. Some they enjoy and some they avoid. If you wish to go past, and if you are ready and able, your first step is to accept everything and wish for nothing. You can try this right now and have a period of time where you accept all that happens, your thoughts coming in your stillness. We do not desire the stillness, but then are given the bliss and peace that comes with the world of causality. These, of course, were symbolized on the cross. The ego that lives firmly within the mind, controlling the body. The desire for bliss that exists within the causal realm, to eventually pass from that realm into purity of spirit. And you feel the very nature of desirelessness and peace beyond all understanding. The light and the no light. But let me once more step back and allow the simplicity be spoken to you in another way, so that you may feel the answer. I will return at the end. You know, when you've got a nice frame of mind and you're sitting around and you're kind of happy with everything for a while, and up pops, let's say, a difficult situation, the kids start to scream, or there's a bit of noise and you wish there wasn't, or you've got to get up and do something. For that little bit of time, there's a little bit of peace in your heart, isn't there? Peace and love and joy and happiness and all that just exists with you, and you ain't got to do nothing. And you can feel it deep within your being, and there's one of them moments, when you're relaxed and you're comfortable. And then when things get thrown at you, you handle it a very different way, don't you? You just handle it with this nice calmness until the agitation starts to arrive and you say, oh, all I want to do is sit still and I've got to get up and do something. See, if you can hold that little bit of peace bit, that calmness, it can go through the rest of your day and it can actually live with you for quite some time. And then you choose to let it go and you get caught up in the dramas of life and you get caught up in the things that have got to be done. But the idea is retain that little bit of peace. No matter what you have to do, retain that peace. And if you do this, retaining peace, or if you want to say love, if you prefer love in your heart, if you would keep that there, then what you have to face just becomes a little bit different, doesn't it? Until you let go of that peace. If you can hold peace or love in your heart, and then when you've got to do something, it comes out different. And you say, well, I'd like to connect to spirit. Well, how can you not connect to spirit when you've got love in your heart? That's a description of spirit, isn't it? When you're feeling all lovely and you've got this bit of understanding inside you, that is spirit. You see, the agitation's your world. The love bit is not your world. It's beyond your world. You go and point to where love exists in your world and you'll realise it is only the expression of love that you see in. When two people ain't seen each other for a while, they give a bit of a hug. That's the outward sign of love, isn't it? That ain't love, that's the visibility of love, if you like. Love made visible. You see, an exercise from ages ago was to build up love in your heart before you do anything. Build up spirit within you before you do anything. Let spirit do the work. Let love do the work, if you want to use that phrase. See, all of this ain't so complex. You can make it complex by trying to figure it all out and go, oh, Chapter 1, Part A, Subsection 2, Paragraph 3, Line 27. But you can make it really complex if you want to, can't you? And if you want to really define it, and define it, and define it, and define it, you'll do your head in. You'll go crazy, I reckon. I reckon it's simple. And maybe this is just my way for me to understand it, and maybe that's why the others do most of the talking. But it's as simple as let love be in your heart. And when love's in your heart, then you do things. It's not sitting still doing nothing, but you can do them, but you do them with a joy, don't you? You get all joyful and lovely. And the other person feels joyed up and loved up. When two people come together, that's where spirit will be, and that's the love bit. Love made visible. Two people connecting. Of course, you can make one person who doesn't want to connect. Well, there ain't no love there then, is there? Or it's not seen, I should say. Let's say you've got a difficult situation you've got to deal with. Well, let's say you lose your job, or you got no money, or your boyfriend clears off for whatever reason. Or let's say you've got to go and do something you don't want to do. Chuck that into the mix as well. Well, you can sit there going, look how terrible this is. And what happens? You build up agitation, don't you? And you build up resistance and you try to avoid it and you say, why does this always happen to me? Why do I get all the bad things when everybody else looks so happy? Why have I got to deal with this difficult situation I know nothing about, I don't know how to do it, and I don't know why I'm doing it, but I've got to deal with it. The more you resist it, the more you want to be somewhere else than right in the thick of this, the worse that situation is. The more you sit by yourself and bang yourself over the head and saying how bad you are or how bad the situation is, the worse it gets. Come back into the love of your heart and just deal with it with love in your heart and say, look, I've got to deal with my financial mess or my boyfriend going. And you suddenly realise that underneath it, even though these are problems and things you have to face, underneath it you see that actually, although there's a bit of grief and pain that I can feel, underneath even that I'm alright, I'm okay. And you see, this is what he's saying. He said, look, if there's a body that it feels all the emotion, the mind that creates all either difficulty or problem, and the thought about it just creates more of it. You go into the problem of your boyfriend leaving you either with an open heart or a closed one. You pick. If you go into it with negativity, I guarantee it's going to last longer. All the negativity, all the difficulty. But if you go in with an open heart, a heart that's full of, let's say, full of the beans of life, even if they're a bit duller than normal because of what you got to do, well, you just pick up the stuff and you go deal with it. Don't you? You can just say, oh, well, okay, well, if that's what I got to deal with, that's what I got to deal with. And you go and do it. And when you do it, it's never as bad, is it? It's never as bad as what you think. You kind of, in your head, you make it like 10 times worse than it really is. But if you just, okay, I have to deal with this, and deal with it. And then it's done. Now can you see how then, with the second option of like building love up, and even if it's a difficult situation still do it, well, it kind of means that you're still doing something, but you're doing it in a different way, aren't you? You just have to face what you got to face. Let's say you got to take a nice long holiday and you're just about to go away and for some reason work rings and say you can't go. Or situations change and you have to cancel. Well, of course, when that first happens, there's a bit of sadness, isn't there? There's a bit of, oh, I wanted to go. Now I can't. Well, you can sit in a corner and beat yourself up and say to the world, look how bad this is. Look how terrible all these situations are. Or you can say to yourself, well, hang on a minute, well, you know, I did want to go, but I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Let's just carry on. What you deal with, you either deal with agitation or with love. It's far easier, far nicer, if you have a bit of love. And then you see, you've skipped past the desire bit, ain't you? Yeah, I wanted to go away, but never mind. But the more you keep saying to yourself, I couldn't, I wanted to, I should have done, I could have done, but somebody got in the way, and the worse it gets. And then you've gone past that world of astral he's talking about into the causal bit. Causal bit is where love and bliss lies. And you see this, you've gone into the love and bliss. You haven't created more torment, and you haven't created more agitation. You've got spirit within you. At least a feeling of them in your heart. You've got that love bit. And you deal with what you got to deal with. And you see other people doing it, and if you look at other people around you in your life, and you see, let's say you see your brother or your sister or someone else, and you can see them going through this. The times when they think they should be somewhere else or life should be different, but it's not. If you see other people going through this, you can't change them. That's the way they've got to live. They've got to understand it themselves. And they may come up to you and go, why are you so happy? Why you got it all going on and I've got all this misery? It's only when they come to you can you tell them. You can't go out telling them. Ain't going to listen. Nobody's going to listen until they've got the desire to change themselves. There's that word desire. Desire to begin with can put you onto another path. Desire for life to be different. But they have to walk that path, and it's only after a period of time they realise they were already on it. It's the desire that caused the problem. Anyway, look, same story, I can talk on forever. Remember what I said. What you resist will fight back. What you accept will begin to vanish. God bless you. See you again, no doubt. Well, actually, you won't be seeing me, will you? You'll just be hearing me. Anyway, alright, see ya. Ta-ra. In effect, life is fairly simple, but is made complex, challenging and difficult because of our expectations of what life should be, and where life should take you. It is the evolved soul that sees beyond the physical form into either the astral or mind or causal which is the cosmic consciousness, and then beyond. I started the talk by saying, let me come into my heart. Come into the heart and let me hold you there. And you can see, I hope, that by coming into my heart, you in fact come into your own heart. And the two hearts become one. And if you did this sufficiently, the feeling of truth and peace and love and spirit become evident to you. And this is not the feeling of an extraneous spirit, but the unified spirit, not the individual. Now next week, we will offer ourselves open to question. If there's any that you would like to ask on any topic, maybe you can send them to Brandon if you don't mind, and not to this medium. And if you would like, during next year, we will open ourselves to a few people who would like to come and talk with us directly. To have a conversation of, well, a shorter conversation about anything that you would like. About your life, your evolvement, or even, let us call it general knowledge. Come and be with us. You have in front of you the ability to talk with those that know. If it is of assistance to you, can come. And we will record the session for use later in the year. If you would like to be involved in that, do not send your questions, but say to the medium, I would like to be involved in that conversation, and he will organize a time. There is no cost. It is given freely. So until next week, I bid you goodbye, and let peace be in your heart. Try living one day with first peace in your heart, and the event you have to face second. God bless you.